All right, last knitting podcast of 2024. Let's just get into it. Okay, hello and welcome back. I'm doing my final knitting podcast of 2024. For some reason I thought the last one was my last podcast. I guess normally I upload at the beginning of the month, but the way videos are falling, I'm uploading at the end of December, so it's nice to get to kind of say hello in this more informal way. I feel like these are often my most informal videos, at least one more time this year. So hello, I'm filming on the 28th, so it's been a few days since Christmas. If you celebrate, I hope you had a great Christmas. If you celebrate Hanukkah, I know that's ongoing, so I hope you're enjoying it. If you celebrate the solstice or no holidays, whatever this past few weeks or this past week has looked like for you, I hope that it's been great and you've at least been able to kind of slow down and reflect a little at the very least. Like, that's always kind of my goal for this season. I know not every hemisphere it's cool right now, but in the winter it's always my like kind of hibernate, reflect, slow down time, think about the coming year ahead. And so I hope that you were maybe able to do that. And yeah, I got some great slow time. It was a very chill Christmas this year with just me and my mom, which was honestly really needed. It's been a crazy year, so I feel a little bit recharged, ready to go back to work next week, kind of, and ready to also just talk about what I've been making for the past month. So we've got our normal podcast format today. I'm gonna start with finished objects, which might be an interesting segment because I finished 4 things and I have 0 of them. So I will be showing pictures and describing. But I finished 4 objects. I have 2 whips, very unlike me as well, to have 2 things that I'm like pretty actively working on. And then I have some acquisitions, mostly Christmas presents, mostly pre-orders. But I will show that and talk through all of those. So let's just get started. First of all, starting with our finished objects, I finally finished the Christmas sweater that I was working on in the last episode. So last time I talked to you all in this format, I was working on the Holidays sweater by Kate Oates. It was a sample knit for Little Fiber Co, and she still hasn't posted it, so I can't show the color photos yet, but I will have some pictures in black and white that I took before I sent it off, and oh my gosh, I was so happy to get that off my needles. I mean, it's beautiful. It was really fun to work on. Like, I felt like it was an amazing experience to really test my color work skills on like, it was a whole sweater knit on US 3s with fingering weight yarn, 3 color rows, catching tons of floats. I had to repeat like each motif like 26 times on the body, and then the sleeves went really fast after that, and so it was just a huge undertaking. I think I spent a lot of time talking about it last time, and I think you could all kind of tell that I was overworking on it, but I am looking back, I'm really proud of myself for it. I had a couple friends that were like, why can't you keep it? Like, is there any way that maybe you could just keep it? It's so amazing. Like, I can't believe you're gonna give this away. And it's like, I'm never gonna wear this. Like, I'm so happy that Lauren of Little Fiber Co has it and gets to show it off, and like, it'll be shown to a lot more people than if I just kept it and wore it once a year for Christmas. And so I'm really grateful that it went to her and she gets to show off her beautiful yarn and my knitting. And so it was an undertaking. I'm glad it's done, but yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool to work on that. So that is the first finished object that I obviously do not have because I sent it back as it was obligated to send back and I was already paid for it. So that was also great. My next finished object, which I do not have and do not have a photo of, which is true for the next 2 objects, so I'll go through them quickly. They were both gift knits, so I made the Anisio socks by the New York Year for Noah, my boyfriend's dad. They're just a simple 3x1 rib sock. They have a couple different heel options. I actually test knit these a year and a half ago, and so I had a different sock in mind from the 52 Weeks of Sock book, and then looking through it, it was a toe-up sock with a different kind of toe construction than I've done before, and I was bringing it on a business trip with me, and I just finished the holiday sweater, so I decided, like, I'm not messing with a new stitch pattern, I'm not messing with a toe-up sock right now, I'm just doing a sock I've knit before and a nice rib. And so I think that it turned out beautifully. Obviously I don't have photos, but it was a nice sock. I knit it with a gray tweed yarn by Loco. So it's called Earl Grey, and I used most of it. I'm sorry, I don't really have much to show you, but just to say, yeah, it turned out well. He likes the socks. They were already gifted to him and he likes them, so I'm really happy there. I also made a hat for Noah's mom, and so I used the weekend hat by Petite Knit Pattern. I had actually planned on designing a hat, but I didn't want my first sample to be a gift, and I ran out of time, so I used the weekend hat pattern because I've knit that a ton before, and actually last year I gifted Noah's dad a weekend hat, so now they have matching hats. And yeah, hers was really nice, beautiful. I actually held a fingering weight skein double in this color called Beach Read, but it was a blue, purple, and kind of white yarn, and it made a 1x1 rib hat. Very simple, and I did not take any pictures because I finished the hat and blocked both of them on Thursday night. And then Noah was actually leaving on Friday morning at like 8 a.m. to go drive to Arizona with his family to celebrate Christmas. So I was a little bit stressed, like trying to pack everything up. Like I was trying to gift wrap it in the middle of my morning meetings and all of that. And so I neglected to take pictures, but I think at some point he'll send me pictures of them. I think he took some for me, but I do not have them now. And I'm not gonna ask his parents to send me pictures after, like, here's a gift, take a picture of it. So, gonna let that go. But yeah, very, very fun. It was very fun. And then I did one final gift knit this year, which was the Ribka pouch. This is by Rat and Sea Witch, and it's a really fun little fish pouch. Another gift knit, so it's actually been gifted to my aunt now. So this is for my Aunt Jennifer. Hi Aunt Jennifer, if you're watching. And so I made this out of some leftover DK weight yarn I'd had from sample knitting for Poppy and Spruce fibers. I forget the exact colorway. It's definitely from her moss or lichen collection, so I'll figure out the exact colorway and it'll be in the description. But I use this color. The pattern's actually written to hold a fingering weight and a mohair together, but I didn't have a fingering weight and a mohair that matched well and that I thought that my aunt would like, and so I went with a DK weight, and the pattern was maybe a little bit off gauge, but it worked fine. And I actually even used different needles because I didn't have it called for a 3mm or US 2.5, which I did not have, so I just used a US 3 because I had it. So yeah, it was a beautiful, easy pattern. It took me an evening and like basically an evening and a day to knit. So it's a simple thing. The longest part of it was honestly crocheting everything together. I didn't really realize before I started that you knit the 2 panels of the fish and then you crochet around all of it, and then you sew the top down and you knit an eye cord to add a drawstring, and then you sew on little eyes. And so the crocheting them together, I'd never done that before, so it was kind of interesting, but it was fun. It just took a while because I'm so used to knitting, so crocheting took a long time, but I think it turned out really well, and hopefully she likes it, and I think it was cute. It was really fun. I might make some for myself later for like chapstick or something. I don't know. I'll probably make a little one to hold chapstick. So it was really enjoyable. I highly recommend that pattern. And actually, like the day after I finished it, I was watching Ash's podcast from Smash Knits, and she just made a couple of those and they're so cute. So it was nice to see that from her too. So those are my finished objects, which, sorry, I don't have any of them, but pictures and my descriptions will hopefully do. So there you go. I have been busy. I just don't have anything tangible to show for it, but I have been busy. So moving on to whips. My first whip was a whip in my last podcast too, and is close to being done, which is super exciting. I actually like kind of delayed filming today to see if I could finish it, and then I decided that was dumb because I'd rather show it as a finished object when it's all blocked and looks nice. And so I have 7 rows left on it, but I decided like I'm not gonna try to finish the 7 rows because I also want to add ties and stuff. So this is the Nora Neck by We Made Wardrobe. I'm actually gonna try it on for you, so hang on one sec. Okay, so this is the Nora Neck. I feel like it takes me a while to like kind of mess with the turtleneck or cowl neck until I like it, but I think it's really cute. And so I have the back complete. Here it is. And I'm almost done with the front. I'm just on the ribbing. And so this pattern has been really fun. I'm using the Junk yarn in their, I think it's called Nostalgia Boucle base. Yeah, Nostalgia DK, which is a boucle base, and in the color Fashionista Barbie, which is so fun. Junk Yarn unfortunately actually closed down, and so had listed all of their in-stock yarn, which is why I bought this. And I also am making this for the Opposites Attract knit along, which Ash from Smash Knits and I are hosting together. So if this is your first time hearing about it, I think I've talked about it in every video I've filmed for the past few weeks. So sorry if you consistently watch and you're sick of hearing of it. But if you don't, we are hosting a knit along through February 17th, where the goal is just knit with a color that you normally wouldn't. Something that kind of scares you. Like, I think we all have those colors that we love, but are maybe scared of knitting with or scared of wearing and like don't know how it's going to turn out for us. So the point of the cowl is just knit with one of those, like expand your kind of comfort zone of colors. It started because Ash and I have pretty opposite color palettes. I normally knit with like not necessarily neutrals, but very light muted colors, and she knits with very, very bright colors. And so we kept complimenting each other and then decided like, no, we should actually knit with each other's colors and see how we like that. And then like, why don't we just make it a knit along and expand it to more people? So that's the point of it. We have a group chat on Instagram that's really fun, really encouraging, I think, as well. Like, it's fun because people will ask for advice on different projects and stuff. And so it's been really great and fun to engage in, and like people respond to, you know, when you post your whip and say, this is what I'm working on. People are like, that looks great. Or like, oh, I love your dog in the background. So it's been really fun. So I'll have the link for that group chat down below. You can also post on Instagram using the hashtag if you'd like. So yeah, very fun. It'll be down there. But this is my first whip of the knit along, and it is very fun because it's got all these little speckles of bright colors. And I didn't quite realize like how many bright colors there were. Like, look, there's even patches of red, like pink, purple, highlighter yellow, lots of blue. I'd say blue is the primary color. And yeah, super, super fun piece. And it's a dicky, obviously, or a neck, whatever you normally call them. I know they go by lots of things. And I've been wanting one of these for a really long time, and also have been craving boucle, so it worked out for me to combine. I needed a whip for the knit along. I wanted to knit with boucle. I wanted a dicky. Here we go, 3 in 1. So I'm almost done with it. I'll definitely finish it tonight. And I've generally followed the pattern. I did shorten the cowl neck a little bit, I think by like 10 centimeters. So quite a substantial amount. I'll check the exact amount, but it was a little long. And I just kind of got sick of knitting 1 by 1 rib, and I felt like I had enough smoosh. You could definitely make it longer, and maybe that would help it like stand up a little more, but it serves my purpose. And I didn't have to knit 1 by 1 rib in boucle anymore, which not very fun. Boucle is not the funnest base to work with, but it's still being enjoyable because just look at it. It's so fun. So yeah, I shortened the neck a little bit, and I actually shortened the ribbing just a tiny bit. It's supposed to be 6 centimeters, and my ribbing on the back is 4 centimeters. And I actually also decided to make the front slightly longer, so I added 6 more rows of stockinette before going into the ribbing, and so it'll be about 3 centimeters or like just over an inch longer, so not that big of a deal, but I just wanted it to be slightly longer because we've got, you know, boobs in the front, and so like for it to fall at the same level, it actually needs to be longer in the front. So decided to make it slightly longer. Probably not as long as I should have if I really wanted that to like even out, but I felt like it was enough. And so yeah, this will be a finished object very soon, and I'm really excited about wearing it. January is definitely our coldest month the year in Colorado, so I'm hopefully gonna finish it at the perfect time to get to wear it a lot. So there we go. That is my first finished object. I totally meant whip, not finished object. Okay, and now we have my second whip in this bag, which is actually a Christmas gift, so you'll see a little bit more about it in acquisitions, but it's also in a try-on-able state, so I will try it on for you. But let's talk about it first. So this is the, I want to make sure, yep. This is the Strippipe by Kutu Vakika, also known as Veronica Lindbergh. And so this was part of my fall knitting plans and has been on my winter knitting plans list. And on December 23rd, I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm casting a sweater on for myself. Like, I was thinking I should really just work on the Nora Neck and get a little bit further on it, but I wanted a fun little new serotonin cast on for Christmas. And so I cast this on, and I have loved it so far. It's been really, really fun to work on. The stripes are so potato chippy because it's just like, you know, you work 8 rows and then a stripe, and you're just like, oh, I can do another stripe, and you just keep going. It's a drop shoulder, so it's been, you know, fun to work on it. I'm really glad I'm in the round now on the body, and then I have 2 out of 3 of the body colors in. I just have to add in the last 3 stripes of the body and the ribbing and then sleeves. But I'm actually gonna do the sleeves next. I just kind of prefer to do my sleeves when my body's not all the way done, so that it's not as heavy and not as bulky when I'm working the sleeves. And I have the neckline done. And so the yarn on this one, this color, my main color, is Drops Daisy in, I think the shade is Marzipan, but it's color 2 on the labels, but I think the name online is Marzipan. So I have that color, and then my orange red stripes is Knitting for Olive Merino in the color Copper. And then I have blue stripes in Knitting for Olive in Dusty Aqua. And then the little green bit on the collar is Knitting for Olive Merino in Dusty Artichoke. And this will also be the second stripe on the arms. And then I'm also adding in this color for the stripes, the last stripes on the body. This is Salty Blonde Fibers DK Halfsies, so it's only 50 grams in the color Oak. And this is my only superwash. Everything else is non-superwash, so hopefully they play well. I think it'll be fine though. I've worked with her bases before, Ryan's of Salty Blondes, and they don't tend to like super stretch, so not too worried. And then I also will be adding in this gorgeous yellow on the sleeves, which is another Salty Blonde Fibers yarn. This is her Shiniko base, her Prairie base, which is a Shiniko wool. And I, for the life of me, can never remember the color of this one. I always want to call it Marigold. It's not Marigold, so it'll be in the description, but it was from her Summer Tonals collection, which I did a sample knit for, and it's just a beautiful kind of honey yellow. So yeah, I'm gonna be working the stripes on the top of the sleeve with this, and then we'll do the green and then the brown body. So very fun whip, and I'll try it on for you. Okay, so here it is on. Also, I keep like noticing I have a back warmer on, or like yeah, a heated back wrap on, just for fun, just because I'm cold. It's not really therapeutic, but I do have that on. So I just keep noticing like the little bit of it peeking out, but I'm just cold. And yes, it looks so cute on. I'm so excited to add the sleeves because, you know, this is flaring up slightly, and so it'll look slightly less football quarterback when I have sleeves and gravity's weighing it down. So I'm excited for that. And yeah, it's just gonna be so cozy. It's like definitely the most sweatshirt fit sweater I've made, where it's really, you know, it's a loose neck crew neck. You actually decrease in the body near the end to make the rib more cinch in, like a real kind of sweatshirt where you have this cinched bottom. Same with the sleeves. So it's not quite a balloon sleeve, but it's just like they're made to cinch in more. So it's gonna be like a real kind of sweatshirt fit. I did steam block the yoke here just because I'm gonna be picking up our sleeves next, and I wanted to have, it's not perfectly accurate. I debated wet blocking it, but I didn't want to wait for it to dry. But I at least have like a more accurate idea of like how much the body stretches, because I didn't gauge swatch for this. This is the first time I have not gauge swatched for a project. Well, a sweater project. I've definitely not gauge swatched for like hats and socks, but I just full sent casting this on. I did not gauge swatch. So far it's working out for me. I mean, the steam block didn't change it that much, but I really wanted to give it like a steam block. Probably should have wet blocked it, but I was like, steam block's good enough to gauge, you know, how long I need to make my arms, because I'll know how much my body stretched, since it is a drop shoulder and the width of the body really impacts the length of the arms. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun experiment to wet block this at the end. I don't know. I was burnt out from working on all of the sample knits I've been working on straight. Like I did 3 sample knits straight and then 3 gift knits right after. And I just wanted something for me to cast on. And wasn't in the mood to gauge swatch, especially given that I'm using so many different yarns that I would have had to make like a pretty long gauge swatch to test out. Okay, it's 3 different kinds of yarn, but no, 4. I would have had to test out 4 different yarns to make sure they all met gauge, and I wasn't in the mood. I was not in the mood. So I did not gauge swatch. I think it's gonna be fine. It seems fine so far. I just decided, like, if it's bigger, it's bigger. If it's smaller, it's smaller. Like, whatever. So this pattern is made to have, I think it's like 8 to 12 inches of positive ease, and I have like a little over 8, almost 9, if my project meets gauge. So I was like, it's either gonna be bigger, but no way like 3 inches bigger, or it's gonna be smaller, and 8 inches is still a lot of ease. So I just gambled, and it's working out for me. So there we go. So yeah, that's this one. I feel very like, I don't know, not really out of control, but it was very outside of my norm for me to both not gauge swatch and to have a pretty active width with the Nora Neck and still cast this on and work on it. I needed a little bit of chaos after so many months of structured knitting to get gifts and samples done. So there we go. I'm super content with it so far. I think that there's nothing that I don't love about it. It looks great. So I'm probably gonna finish the Nora Neck tonight, and then I'm gonna work on this again. And in my head, I'm like slightly delusional and think I can finish both of these before January 1st so that I can count them in my what I made in 2024 video, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna. So I'll at least have one more object to include, and this will be pretty far, but yeah, there we go. Those are my whips, and let's move on to acquisitions. And you know what? Just for fun, I'm gonna leave this on. Why not? You can just see my little silly little shoulder pads. For acquisitions, I felt like there weren't that many, but then I started remembering stuff and pulling stuff out, and so we'll just talk. It was Christmas, and I had a few pre-orders come through, so there we go. So in my last podcast, I'd actually already ordered this, and I think it was delivered later that day of the podcast, but it was not featured in it. And so last podcast I showed some Chaos yarn, both the Merino and the brushed alpaca in the color Nostalgia, and I'd said I needed more of it because I'd bought out what they had at the yarn store my sister knits, and I needed more. And so I ordered online from Wild Hand, which is a Philadelphia yarn store, and little Fiber Co, who lives in Pennsylvania, had just started selling fiber with Wild Hand, and they'd had a huge stock of it. And so I got some because it was pretty. And have I ever finished an entire braid of spinning fiber? No, I only have a Turkish drop spindle, and it takes me forever to spin because I'm hypermobile and spinning causes some pain in my body, so I can't do it very often or for very long. Was I in love with this, and have I been thinking about getting a e-spinner? Yes. So I got it, and part of this was like, maybe I will manifest one of my friends or family members getting me an e-spinner for Christmas. We shall see. And we shall see. I still have like some friends to exchange gifts with, but I also will just save up for one if that doesn't happen. But I love it. I love it. It's so pretty. It's so soft. It is 100% American Rain Boulet, which I've never worked with before, and it's 20.5 microns, so super soft, and it's 4 ounces, so a little over 100 grams. And I got 2 of them because I want to maybe make a pressed flowers cardigan with this as like the background color, or the color for all the little flowers, and then work like a, neutral main color. So I wanted to just to have the freedom to do that, or maybe like a pressed flower shawl. I don't know. I think I love I love the way projects look with hand spun yarn, and when they're in color work and it kind of like slowly shifts colors, and it just looks like really subtle with a really strong like solid color. So maybe one of the pressed flowers pieces, maybe the, oh my gosh, I forget the Andrew Mowry pattern for Rhinebeck this year, the name of it, but it's got all the little quilt motifs. A lot of people use handspun in that, so maybe that. But that is a very long way away because this needs to turn into yarn, and then I need to knit it. So who knows when that'll actually happen, but I just couldn't not get this yarn, or this fiber. I don't know. It was pretty. I was already placing an order. Why not add more? So there's those. My next acquisition is a pre-order. So I don't have all the skeins of it, but Poppy and Spruce Fibers, one of my loves, Abby, she had a pre-order a little while ago for her new Nostalgia Places collection, and I'd sample knit for it, and I'm actually one of the inspirations for it, and so had to order from it. I had, sample knit compensation at her shop, and yarn was inspired by me. So I got some yarn. And so I got myself 2 skeins. My mom actually, she knits much slower than me, but like I was talking to her a few weeks ago, over Christmas actually. She's been working on a Sophie scarf for maybe 2-3 months, like the small size Sophie scarf, and she finally finished it on Christmas Day, which was so excited because I could steam block it for her. I had to bind off for her because it had been so long since she'd finished a project that she needed. Well, I didn't have to, I had to show her how to bind off again because it had been so long since she'd finished something that she'd forgotten how. And so, yeah, I love my mom. I love watching her knit. We have the same hobby at very different paces, which totally valid, totally fine. But she fell in love with one of the colorways from the Poppy and Spruce Fibers Nostalgia Places collection. So she actually got a sweater quantity of that and will be doing her first sweater, which is so exciting. So you might see like little bits of it because I imagine I'll help her out at different spots. She's already told me like you need to be on call for help. So I'm really excited for her and really excited to kind of watch her make her first sweater, and the fact that it's with Abby's yarn is so exciting. And so she got that, and so I got 2 skeins for myself. She got 6 skeins, and then this is the yarn inspired by me. I also feel like I'm talking in circles, but let me just go through the yarns I have in my lab. This is the colorway Bunny Slopes, and this is in Abby's Spruce sock base, which is a 75% merino, superwash merino, 25% nylon 4-ply base. So pretty standard sock yarn, and it's inspired by me as a little baby. And so this whole collection, Abby asked folks to submit pictures and memories associated with the pictures, and I had submitted some pictures of me skiing as a child. I used to have, not me, my family used to have a cabin up in Winter Park, or a condo in Winter Park, Colorado, and my grandparents used to have a timeshare in Breckenridge, and actually my mom and aunt inherited that timeshare, so we still go up to Breck every year, but now we go in the summer. We're not really skiers anymore, but I grew up skiing. I actually used to be able to do like black diamonds as a 2-year-old. Can't do them anymore. I stopped skiing when I was like 12. But the point is, very nostalgic about skiing. I submitted my story about skiing. I submitted a photo of me in my ski gear, and Abby turned it into yarn. So I'll have the picture up, but in the picture I'm wearing like a very 2000s jacket and snow pant combo in these kind of super bright tones. So that's what these neons are, where like I'm wearing a super bright floral ski suit, and so we've got those little patches, and then I'm surrounded by snowy forest with like evergreen trees. So that's what this beautiful like greenish blue is, and then all the white is all the snow. So overjoyed by this color. And so I am at least starting with making myself a pair of socks. I might go back and get more of this yarn later, but I just couldn't commit to another sweater quantity at the time of ordering. And I know Abby, and she, her store is really great because she'll have a pre-order for when she first launches a collection and do a big drop of it, but the colorways don't just like disappear after. You can always order them, or not always, but you can pretty consistently order them from her shop. So I know I can get more later if I decide I need a sweater in it, because it is really special. But for now, I'm making myself socks in it, and I actually bought another skein for my mom because she wanted baby Sarah socks too. So one of my first projects in 2025 will probably be making my mom and I matching socks in baby Sarah yarn. So that was my first acquisition. And I also got this colorway from the same collection. This is the color Spiced in her Birch DK base, which is a non-superwash merino. It's so soft. It's 20.5 microns base, and it's a DK. And it is inspired by fall. This beautiful orange, or pumpkin pie. Fall pumpkin pie spiced. And I want to design a hat, and I have one set of yarns for the hat. It'll be a 2-color, and then I wanted to make a second sample, and I thought that this color plus some variegated that I have will be perfect. And so got that to do that. And yeah, very excited. Always love getting to support my yarny friends. So that was great. And then we have some Christmas stuff. Christmas, Advent, yada yada stuff. So the first thing is, I bought this myself, but I'd placed an order with Delq because I wanted to give my mom one of their project bags for Christmas, because we both have Delq project bags and love them. And so this is kind of a reimagined version of their snaps. At least I think it's just updated to have some really fun features. And so I got my mom a larger one and ordered myself the small size in this beautiful, really bright color. And so it's a project bag, but I like that it has a strap on the outside. It has snaps, which surprisingly, Kepler, one of my cats, is a huge yarn fiend and too smart for his own good, and he can sneak into most project bags. Like anything with a zipper he can figure out and get into, but somehow the snaps fool him. He can't figure out the snaps. And so I can leave anything with snaps out and he can't get into it, which is amazing. So yeah, it's a snap project bag, which I love. And then compared to the other snap bags I have from them, there's a lot of pockets. So there's one pocket here, and then behind that pocket is a zip pocket. And then there's another pocket on the other side, and it's got both the kind of wristlet handle and handles here. So who doesn't, I don't know anyone that can resist shopping for themselves when they are Christmas shopping. And so when I was getting my mom a project bag, I was like, well, I already have to pay for shipping. I'll get myself one too. And so got this guy, and he's cute. He's little and I am excited to use him. The next, these are now Christmas presents. So the next present, this was from my mom, and it's not a Delq. It looks like one, but I'm not quite sure where she got it, but I know it's not a Delq bag, but it definitely looks like one. But another snap bag. So it's got all the snaps on the top, so Kepler cannot get into it, and I know that he cannot because he's tried every single night since I put it in this bag. Every morning I wake up, this is on the floor of the living room, but it is still closed and there is no yarn out of it. So go snaps. And yeah, it's big enough. It's, you know, a big kind of square tote. I like the flat bottom. It's really big. It's got a huge zipper pocket on the front, and then lots of room inside for yarn. Oh, and it has a little spot attached for scissors, and then it's got like a carabiner, so I just hooked a bunch of stitch markers to that as well. So very nice, well thought out project bag that also actually came with this, which is like another little snap bag that doesn't have any zippers or anything, like no other pockets, but is really cute. And I think that like this measuring tape fabric on the top is so cute. I need to measure it to make sure, like compare it to a ruler to make sure it's accurate, but super cute little touch. So super happy with those from my mom. And she also got me this project bag. Again, don't know where it's from, but super cute project bag that I love the little grommets. This will be perfect for color work where I can pull yarns through those. And then unzips. I've already got a project I'm planning on inside, and it's got an interior pocket and lots of room inside for like, I'm gonna use it primarily probably for color work socks, because it'll hold a bunch of little skeins, which is nice. And then it's got an outside pocket and, you know, a little strap. Oh, and I forgot about this. She got me this little tin, which is just so cute. It's so cute. I just love the little cat in a dress on a walk. So cute. And it, you know, is a tin, slides open. I'm holding stitch markers in it. And I was actually with her when she bought this. Every single Christmas and birthday that happens where I'm with her and I fall in love with something, like some trinket or something that I want as a gift. And so she's like, well, do you want me to buy it for you for Christmas? I'm like, yes. So it's always a running joke of like how many things that are actually a surprise under the tree for me. And it's normally more gifts are things I know about than things I don't, but I love it. I honestly love that tradition. I think that it works for us, and I have full faith in her to shop for me without my guidance, but it's also really nice when I'm like, I know exactly what it is, and I'm really excited going up to Christmas because I'm like, oh, I finally get to like wear those gloves that my mom bought me back in October, and I'm so excited. So I did know about that little tin, but I didn't know about the project bags, so those were all really exciting. The next gift I have, this was another gift, and this was from my grandma Anthea, who might be watching, so hi Grandma Anthea if you are. This is a really cool stitch dictionary with a bunch of Japanese stitches. So this was on my wish list, and it is intense. It's so cool. Like, look at these circular yoke charts. And so it's just a whole book of really, really intricate Japanese stitches. And so there's a lot of different charts. Those cables are stunning, like amazing. So full of different charts that are divided into like textured, lace. There's some with smocking, like so many patterns. A whole section of lace with baubles, cables, like, you know, circular yokes, edging specifically, like look at all these, crazy. So yeah, very cool book. I think like it had this on my wish list because I was like, ooh, maybe I can design with this. I don't think I have the skills to turn any of these into knitting patterns yet, but I definitely want to play with this. So I'm really excited to play with it this year. I might make myself like a circular lacy yoke with one of the circular yoke patterns. I'd have to plug it into a sweater pattern, but like at least have the yoke outline for me. So I think that's beautiful. So those are all my Christmas gifts. And then my final two acquisitions are my Advents. So I've been opening all my Advents. You know, I bought them back in like May and June probably, if not earlier, and was opening them through the month of December. And so I can show them to you now. So this is the Zaki Yarn Advent for this year. The theme was belonging, and I got the 24 skein version on their organic merino DK base. So it's 100% non-superwash merino, and it's a fade. So it's beautiful. I'll just let you digest it because it is stunning. I mean, I like, especially the end section, I love. I was not expecting the blue in it. Looking back, there were some photos of blue from the inspiration, but I felt like the other colors were featured more prominently, but I like it. So I am planning on making a colorwork sweater with this, but I'm kind of struggling to decide what contrast color I can hold with this that'll like work across all of these different tones. So I could maybe take out like this and then like these two, which would make the overall tone a little bit darker, and then use like a light blue, maybe like an Arctic kind of blue. So I might do that. I'm gonna probably go to my local yarn store next weekend and see if I think any colors could work, and maybe just get like one skein to hold up with everything. I might like roll up to the yarn store just with these in a tote bag, just shamelessly, and be like, I'm trying to figure this out. So might do that. Continuing to kind of think about it. I have so many whips though in the meantime, and so many project plans that like I'm just gonna continue to think. But I do really want to make a colorwork sweater in this. I think that would be very nice, and would be a really wonderful use of it. So that is my Zaki Yarn Advent. And then I did also get the Pigment and Ply yarn advent. The theme is not a villain, not a damsel. And it is a smaller advent. It goes up to the solstice, and it has 11 mini or 11 50-gram skeins. So it's honestly a similar amount. I guess I shouldn't say smaller, but it's a different yarn advent. And so I was supposed to open throughout the month of December 1 skein every odd day of the month until the solstice on the 21st. And I actually decided, like, no, there's 11 skeins in this, and my Zaki yarn advent, I had a main skein on the last day on Christmas Day, and so the 11 skeins here plus the main skein makes 12, and so I decided to actually open the Pigment and Ply advent calendar as a 12 days of Christmas advent after Christmas, because 12 days of Christmas is actually after Christmas. I don't know if everyone knows that. So I've been opening it since the day after Christmas, since the 26th, and I will just open it through January 6th. And so I have my first 3 days that are opened. The first one is called the Widdershins Way, and it is a tonal to go with Medusa's Gaze. So here are these two together, and actually I can show you the inspo. So here's these two together with the inspo. Trying to hold it up nicely so you can see both, but yeah, here's the inspo, here's the skeins. I think that it's really nice. Like, especially look at those kind of greener patches on here. I was kind of mad at myself because I'd got this calendar thinking like, oh, this can be, you know, my socks for the year. Like, I never use 100 grams on socks. I prefer shorter leg, and I knit slightly looser, so I just usually use like maybe 60 grams of sock yarn per sock, and so figured like, oh, you know, I can use the variegated skeins with like a little bit of the tonal and get a pair of socks out of each match, and then also have like a bunch of the tonal left to put into colorwork socks. So that was my plan. I somehow ordered the 100% superwash merino yarn. There was a standard sock yarn with nylon option, but this is just superwash merino, which like I can knit into socks, but doesn't wear as well. So I was kind of mad at myself the first day I opened it, and I was like, what am I gonna do now? But I actually ordered just some 100% nylon thread. It's clear, so we'll see what the texture is like and if I can work with it, but it's like a sewing thread. But I think that I can just hold that sewing thread with this and at least strengthen it a little bit. So I'm gonna try that. Like, I think obviously it would be better if the sock yarn had nylon in it, but I chose the wrong option. So just doing the best I can here. And so I'm just gonna hold the nylon thread with this to hopefully still make some socks. Or maybe I'll investigate like doing a color work fade project or something with it. So that's my loose plan now. I mean, I think that like at the very least I need to use some nylon thread like in the heels and toes, and maybe on the bottom of the foot. I've realized all of my socks wear just on the ball of my foot. I think that I slightly toe walk maybe, or I just like really grind my like the ball of my heel into the ground. So I would like to reinforce that area as well. So we'll see. I'm gonna swatch up knitting with the yarn and the nylon thread to see if it is an okay fabric. So I'll report back on that, because that might be a good hack for you all if you've come across the I have this beautiful yarn but it's not reinforced with nylon, what do I do predicament. So we'll see. I'll report back, but I'm still really excited opening this advent, and this yarn is super soft. So the first 2 days that go together, and then this morning I opened up Serpent's Venom, which is this beautiful green. And if you like this advent, you can actually see all the colorways on Pigment and Ply's Instagram already. I actually had to mute her so that I don't see them because I'm opening it now. But yeah, Serpent's Venom will go with the variegated color called Mirage of Morgan Le Fay. And here's the inspo and color palette. So there we go. I'm really excited to go on her Instagram after I open all of this and actually read the descriptions of all these colorways, because there's a lot. She like describes all the different villains or all the different characters. She describes all of the inspiration on her Instagram, because I accidentally saw some of them where she describes like why it's called the Witterson's Way and Medusa's Gaze and things. So I'm really excited to get to go read those once I open everything, but for now I don't want to spoil it for myself, so I'm not checking. So there we go. Those are all my acquisitions, and let's do inspirations next. I know I need to change the order of this. I think I normally do inspirations first, so I need to change that, but I have 3 inspirations for this week. The first one is the Spark sweater, and this is a beautiful sweater that's in test right now, so I don't know exactly when it will come out, but it is from Brie Lar is who is designing it, and it is just beautiful. So she's a designer that she's made before. Yes, and I'm so excited to see this one. It's just a really cool, very geometric circular yoke sweater. One of the tests is from a woman named Whistle and Thread, and I love the color she's chosen with this like super bright peachy, this like very burnt orange, and then this like kind of sea blue maybe. It's just a beautiful sweater. I'm really excited to see this come out and see more about it. So it looks like it'll launch January 23rd, so I'm really excited to learn more about it on January 23rd. But yeah, beautiful sweater, in beautiful colors. So highly recommend checking it out, and I will definitely be watching for when this one releases. The next inspiration I have is actually another yarn advent. So I know I just showed you my 2 yarn advents from Christmas, and one of them is from Zakami Yarns, but Zakami Yarns is actually doing a summer yarn advent. They do one every summer leading up to the summer solstice, and so this year their yarn advent is called Snyntan. I should have tried to pronounce that before, but it's Cnyttan. And it means the loop of memory. And the inspiration, the colors, I'm gagged. Like I want this so bad. It's so pretty. It's taking everything in me to resist buying it. Like the pictures of these people knitting, like, you know, way back in the day, the inspiration, like the description of it. In the golden summer, when the sun lingers long and shadows fade gently into the earth, there lies a timeless rhythm, the loop of yarn, spinning endlessly through hands, connecting past to present, the loop of memory, weaving the lives of those who came before into the fabric of our days. I love it. There's more, but I love this advent calendar. I love the colors. It's, you know, lots of pinks and purples and peachies, and yeah, so I'm obsessed. It's on a early bird sale through the 31st, so I need to decide if I'm gonna get it. I really shouldn't, but it's so beautiful, and I think that this inspiration is something that speaks really deeply to me. Talking about the ancestry of knitting, of like a lot of the times that I feel closest to my grandma or my great-grandma or just the other women that have come before me is through crafting and knitting and these kind of historically feminine art forms, or the feminine crafts. They haven't even been considered art forms in the past, but like these historically feminine crafts that like my grandma knits, my great-grandma knitted, and the Christmas stocking I use every year was knit by her, and now that I've started knitting, I feel like such a deeper connection to her through this, and seeing like, oh, so she duplicate stitched on this part, and all of that is just so wonderful. And so one of the things I really value the most about knitting is that connection to the past. And so I think that's why this summer yarn outfit has really like gotten me, where I'm like, oh my god, this is perfect. But I really should not be buying another yarn advent right now because it's expensive. It's like, even the 12 skein ones is minimum 93 euros, so about $100. And I don't need it. I don't need it, but I want it. So we'll see what happens with that, but it's beautiful, and I wanted to share it with you because I probably won't buy it. I hopefully won't buy it, or I hopefully will. I don't know. I could go either way. Like, it's beautiful, but I also kind of want to save money and buy less yarn this year, so warring forces. There are two wolves. One wants his yarn out of it, and one says that is impractical. But anyways, it's a beautiful inspiration if you are maybe struck by it and actually have the space and extra income in your life to buy it. There you go. I'll have the link. I think it's beautiful. So please let me live vicariously through you if you do buy it. And then my final inspiration are these socks. These are the Golda socks by Lydia Habarber. I love German names. I can never pronounce them well, but Lydia makes these beautiful socks, and I was really struck by this version knit up by Olivia and Oliver Fibers, and just they're a beautiful sock. Like, I really want to make these, and I think I have the perfect sock set to make them with, but beautiful textured sock with like that kind of gym stripe effect, or gym sock stripe on the top, and yeah, they just worked so well together, and I was just enthralled when I saw this combo, and so really want to make these socks because I haven't seen them before. I follow Lydia, and she'd actually only posted one picture of them back in October, so it seems like they are out and available, but maybe weren't marketed super well. So hopefully after Olivia and Oliver Fibers featured them, they get the love they deserve because they are just stunning. So I need to figure out if they are available. I didn't even look into that. I was just like, I want. So actually, let me check right now if they are available. They are. They're €4.50 or €4.50. So I think I will be buying this sock pattern because they're stunning. So there we go. I was really struck by those. And so, yeah, those are my inspirations. And then I actually last month, because I thought that last month's podcast would be the last podcast of the year, and thus the last time I talked about my 2024 knitting intentions, I spent a lot of time talking about them, so I don't feel like I have that much to talk about this month. I wore my knits a lot. I knit quite a lot, but I'm finally slowing down on deadlines. I only had like all 4 of my finished objects were deadlines, either gift or sample, but still I'm slowing down and really trying to focus on that. But I didn't have that much new from my last podcast and spent a lot of time talking about them there. So I'm gonna leave that as is on my intentions and just get excited to start a new kind of round of intentions or planning for 2025. Which you'll hear more about soon. And then a recommendation for this month, or what I've been listening to, what I've been watching, what I've been reading. I have been listening to the books Assistant to the Villain and then Apprentice to the Villain. It's supposed to be a 4-part series at least, but only the first 2 are out. And so I finished the second one actually this morning, and the last one, or the first one, like earlier this week. I loved them. They're a really great read. I've been thinking about reading them for a while, but I didn't know if I'd like it or if they'd be kind of too silly, but they were so good. So it's a story of a girl who goes to work for this villain, like in a kind of medieval world, and they they fall in love, but they're like, oh, we shouldn't date, and it's cheesy, but I liked it. And she learns that she's like more powerful, like she's always self-deprecating, and she learns like, oh, she's actually got all these skills and powerful, and he's in love with her from the start but doesn't want her to know, and yada yada. They're goofy. They're like definitely just a soul read for me, where I'm just like, I need something simple and I know exactly where it's going, but it's still engaging, and so I really enjoyed them. So I recommend them if that sounds like your cup of tea. Oh, I also watched Man on the Inside on Netflix, and I loved it. It kind of felt like something made for uniquely me, because it has Ted Danson in it, and is produced by the same people who produced The Good Place, which is one of my favorite TV shows ever. If you haven't watched it, it's amazing. It stars Kristen Bell and just is amazing. So Ted Danson was in The Good Place, and he's like the main character for Man on the Inside, and he's playing this old man who is helping a private detective. He's kind of like freelancing with a PI to go undercover in a wealthy retirement community in San Francisco to figure out who is stealing jewelry and other objects in this retirement community. And I just have been on such a stories about old folks kick. Like, I just read all of the Thursday Murder Club series, which is a group of 4, I talked about it before, but it's a group of 4 people at a retirement community in England who are solving crimes, and loved those. I was just visiting my grandpa who passed away, his retirement community in California, and loved it there. And just, I don't know, I've been on an old folks stories kick, and so was really happy to see this. And I love The Good Place, and it had a similar Good Place vibe. I love Ted Danson, and so it was great. It's like 8 episodes, I think, so it was really short, but it was great. It was a good little happy watch, which I really needed because life has been crazy. So it's been nice to slow down for the last week or so, just having time off and celebrating Christmas and a slow Christmas with my mom, and getting to talk to other family members and seeing my friends and stuff. So I hope that your life is going well right now. I hope that you had a great holiday season, or just a great solstice, whatever you celebrate. I hope it was great. I hope that you're excited for 2025, and I will see you next year. Crazy. So I'll see you, next time I upload will be next year, and it'll be one of my favorite videos that I make, which is everything I made in 2024. So I'm actually really excited. I haven't looked at the numbers yet, and I feel like I'm gonna be shocked. I don't know if it's gonna be positive by how many things I've made, or negative. So we shall see. But yeah, I'll see you again next week, where I get to try on everything I made and talk about it. So, okay, until then, mwah. Bye.